Not Big Yahoo. Not Big Yahoo talking about foreign countries manipulating American consciousness. Who is the most visible billionaire who openly bought TikTok, CBS, and CNN that also happens to be the biggest donor to the Friends of the IDF charity?
Good to be with you, Jackie. And again, congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. I want to jump right in. Your relationship with the U.S. president has faced some recent tests over Iran, but you shared a very warm call marking the 250th birthday of this country. You called the U.S. a guarantor of global freedom, and you arranged a meeting here in the U.S. soon. When is that meeting set to happen, and should people take this as some signal that any potential rift has been mended?
I don't think there's a rift. America called us the model ally because we're, unlike many of your so-called allies, we actually fight alongside you. Our brave soldiers and your brave soldiers fight shoulder to shoulder. I think America has no greater.
Really? Really? Where were you guys during Iraq, Afghanistan? Was there any talk about boots on the ground in Iran? Must have missed that. It felt more like a demand that America go and wage Israel's wars in Iran, and how anti-Semitic it is that people don't want to do that. But maybe I'm wrong on it. I don't know.
And Israel has no greater ally than the United States. Now, let me tell you this. President Trump is the leader of the United States. He does what's good for America. I'm the leader of Israel, the one and only Jewish state. I do what's good for Israel. 99% of the time, we see eye to eye. But in any family, in any close friendship, there are sometimes differences of opinion, and we discuss them openly. I can tell you in a free spirit, and usually we resolve them too.
That free-spirited debate has made some headlines recently. Last month, the president made clear that you're going to have to accept whatever deal with Iran that the U.S. reaches. He told the Financial Times he won't have any choice. I call the shots. And then he doubled down on this yesterday, telling Axios Netanyahu knows who the boss is. Do you accept that the U.S. would have final say?
Do you know who the boss is? Please dispel the talking point that Trump was the first president to start a war on the behest of Israel when George W. Bush invaded Iraq for exactly the same. No, that's not true. That's not true. I don't believe that. I think that's wrong. Did Israel play a role, an advisory role, and urge America to definitely go to war with Iraq? Yes, of course they did. Benjamin Netanyahu was there. But to state that this was a divergence, or to state that this was entirely in the hands of Israel, is wrong. It's just not true. Iraq, Iran, Turkey. Okay. No. America had personal ambitions in Iraq. America had personal ambitions in Iraq. They happened to be in line with Israel's agenda of destabilizing the region, with the final prize being Iran. But to say that it was like Israel's, to say that we only fought in Iraq because of Israel is bullshit. You're abdicating too much responsibility away from the hands of the Americans. It's untrue.
When American and Israeli interests diverge?
Well, first of all, let me say that we have an excellent relationship, which is defined, as I said, between allies. He's obviously the leader of the United States, which happily is the leader of the world. And Israel is a very strong, vibrant, democratic state. In fact, the only democratic state in the Middle East, and a very large radius, and we're great allies. I think that the real question is, do we have different goals when it comes to Iran?
He's about to be like, it's the only democratic state in the world, really.
The answer is no. We are set on the same goal. We want to see Iran give up its nuclear weapons program. We want to see the nuclear enriched material removed. We want to see the enrichment sites for nuclear material dismantled. We have other common objectives. And President Trump believes that after the battering that the two of us, Israel and the United States and Israel, gave to Iran, he thinks that he can generate enough leeway, enough pressure through the negotiations to get these goals achieved. And we respect that, and I hope he succeeds. But I can tell you this, deal or no deal, as long as I'm prime minister, Iran will not have nuclear weapons.
On this memorandum of understanding you're referring to, in the meantime, Iran has been doubling down on its intention to charge tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. They've been cashing in on the...
Isn't that Gottheimer's take? Oh, Gottheimer. You mean Mersheimer, Gottheimer. That Cheney was against it at first and then got convinced by the lobby? I don't agree with that. Dick Cheney has been pushing the Iraq war meta for his own personal ambitions at Halliburton and for the American defense contractors, and more importantly, the American petrocapitalists since, I believe, 1994, even earlier. So the idea that this was, something that he was against is complete bullshit. He was very openly for it.
60-day sanctions waiver. And according to the Institute for the Study of War, they've also been fortifying tunnel entrances at some of the nuclear sites and reconstituting their defenses. Many of your supporters have argued that Iran came out ahead in this negotiation. The regime is still in power. There are key elements of the nuclear program that are still intact. And the waiver could reportedly generate billions for the regime over these 60 days. The president reportedly has told aides he is okay if these talks blow past the August 18th deadline for a nuclear agreement. Are you okay with that?
Look, did you ever go to the opera? I mean, I'm not a big opera fan, but when I came to the opera the first time, they gave me the cliche. It's not over until the fat lady sings. And you know what? It was over after she sang in that particular concert. I would say it's not over. I would judge it when it's over. But as I said, I think the most important thing is that we have a common goal. And that means Iran cannot have nuclear weapons or the capacity to make nuclear weapons. There are other goals as well. And I think we've been very lucky that President Trump is leading the United States, leading the free world in this common effort. And believe me, if I have things that I want to point out to him and bring my own opinions, I do so in a free way. And when he has things he wants to tell me, he does that in a free way too. That's what friends and allies do with each other.
Your defense minister indicated that Israel...
Why are they chatting with the Antichrist? Because the Antichrist is the real president. What do you mean? Of course Fox News is going to talk to the real president. It's an unbelievable big get for Fox News. The opportunity to talk to the actual president of the United States of America.
Israel is prepping a unilateral strike package for Iran. First of all, is that true? But second, would carrying that out be more politically difficult if you chose to go there after the vice president said this? Listen here.
She asked,
Donald
are
J.
you
Trump
okay with Trump's decisions?
Is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world.
What was your reaction when you heard that?
First of all, I respect J.D. Vance. We have a very good relationship, but doesn't mean that I agree with everything that he says. And I have to point out this. Donald Trump is the greatest friend we ever had in the White House. And I stand by that completely. Secondly, we have some other friends, like a small country called India. It has 1.4 billion people. And boy.
Ain't no way, dog. Ain't no fucking way. Bro, there's no way he turned around and said, India's got us. Bro. Oh my God. To the Indian HasanAbi heads, I'm so sorry. Y'all are constantly eating it on both ends. You know what I mean? You have to deal with the fucking weird nationalists, the BJP losers. And then you have to deal with the motherfuckers in the rest of the world that hear shit like this and go, this is going to make me extra racist towards Indians. You know? I feel bad. Devastating. Devastating blow to India's PR, which has taken tremendous hits over the last couple of years.
Do we have
Would you let Indians emigrate to Israel, though? Fuck no, dude. They're racist as hell. Of course not.
tremendous support there? You know, I have this Facebook thing, and I'm just flooded by these by the overwhelming support there, and we have many others. Let me tell you where we have support, because it's fashionable now, and you know, in many countries, because their media and their social media are inundated with anti-Israel, anti-Semitic material. Many leaders, you know, call me up and say, "Hey, look, I've got this problem with public opinion, but I want you to know we respect you, and can we make some deals? And can you teach us some of the things that your military does? And can we have some of your AI and cyber expertise? You know, Israel is the number 2 country in cyber in the world, and our technology is absurd. I mean, it's so good. The relation."
Zero chill. He went, one, everybody hates us, but that's because they're anti-Semitic. 2, in countries where everybody hates us, the leadership will quietly reach out to us to be like, sir, we can't deal with how much everybody hates you, but can you please give us new surveillance technology so we can better regulate the way people feel about Israel? Incredible stuff. He has no understanding of how this looks, I think, or doesn't care because he has awesome power. You know who I know is not pro-Israel, though? Stuck between borders guy. There ain't no way that motherfucker's both Norwegian and Indian. He is not pro-Israel, I bet.
Are not quite as they appear, and we have many friends. And I have to tell you, we also take care of our friends, especially the Christians in the Middle East. The Christian villages in Lebanon, some of them have actually asked to be annexed to Israel because we protect them against the
Bro. Oh my God. They're actually begging us to be annexed, dude.
They appear, and we have many friends. And I have to tell you, we also take care of our friends, especially the Christians in the Middle East. The Christian villages in Lebanon, some of them have actually asked to be annexed to Israel because we protect them against the Hezbollah fanatics who want to kill them. And we do the same things with Christians everywhere.
Well,
we protect the Christians in the Middle East.
You're touching on my next question, because a source close to the vice president's team told Politico that statement that he made reflects his view of this new political reality where, quote, the vice president sees that the ground is shifting against Israel among voters, including with younger Republicans. He's responding accordingly with nuance instead of stridency. Do you take that as a warning that if Israel were to act alone, the Trump administration would withhold its backing?
Well, first of all, it concerns me that there's that element of anti-Israel, first of all, in the Democratic Party and in the woke right. I'm concerned with that, and to the extent that we can do something
The woke right.
To mend it, obviously, I'll do it.
That's not going to work. Little bro, simply slapping woke in front of the anti-Israel right and an anti-Israel far right is not going to work. They really suck at marketing, man. They have, I mean, straight up, it blows my mind how bad they are at marketing this shit. Yeah, I know that's what Ben Shapiro calls the anti-Israel right. They call them the woke right. It's not going to work. It's like Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, all these fucking losers. I think it was invented by Conceptual James, if I recall correctly. They are good at propaganda, though. No, I mean, they are elected. Haha, funny how it goes. No, they're not good at propaganda. Brother, if they're actually good at propaganda, they're not good at propaganda. They're good at controlling flows of information. And for the longest time, they were pretty good at deplatforming people. Since that has changed, they have actually sucked at it because they still operate like fealty to Israel is unquestioned in both parties. Do you see what I mean? They're still playing the field as though they have the field advantage. They don't. And that's where you realize, like, oh, never mind. Their propaganda wasn't good. They just like bought so much influence. That's it. That's all this was.
But I find that there's something unique about these attacks. And that something is that the people who hate Israel end up hating America. And I've seen that, when they do these, these demonstrations, these protests against Israel defending itself, this tiny country defending itself against these
size of New Jersey
murderers who commit to exterminate us. And we do what any self-respecting country would do. We defend ourselves. But when they do the protests, they burn Israeli flags, and very often, right next to them, they burn American flags. Mm-hmm. But when those Americans who support Israel, non-Jews and Jews alike, when they do a demonstration to support Israel, they wave the Israeli flag and they wave the American flag. So I think there's a process taking place inside America, which you probably know better than me, of questioning America's traditional values and going to many places that I think challenge not only our alliance, but they challenge the traditional values that form the basis of each of our countries. And I hope that's not something that is going to proceed. I hope America changes direction. That's really what I hope to see.
And you're touching on this growing trend of anti-Semitism, especially among young people, and I'm going to ask you about that next. But just to put a pin in this piece of the conversation, what do you say to critics who argue that Israel has embraced sort of a permanent state of war and that there's not really an end game here? Because they point to places like Gaza and say that Hamas, is still in power. They haven't laid down their arms. What do you say to those critics who accuse Israel of being in a permanent state of war?
Oh, we're not in a permanent state of war. I myself, with President Trump, we brought forth 4 peace deals. That's what we did. It's the Abraham Accords. And I believe with the weakening of Iran, which has been achieved by our common action, our common military action, I think we're going to get more because countries would like to align with us and to protect their future and also their prosperity. Israel is a powerhouse. I mean, it's
so funny when left to his own devices, he's like, war has to be endless. We have to keep waging war nonstop. War has to be never ending because we're in a bad neighborhood. When he comes to American television, he's like, I love peace. Peace is my favorite thing. I wish we never had to wage war. They just are waging it upon us.
It's an engine of innovation, of AI, of quantum, of just of everything. So I don't see that. But I'll tell you one thing. I think that the Lebanon deal has shown that we have more cards to play. Okay. Lebanon would like to free itself of Hezbollah, these Hezbollah terrorists who are, making their life miserable. And it's not only the Christians in Lebanon who ask for our protection. It's the Druze, it's Muslims, the Sunni Muslims, and quite a few of the Shiite Muslims too. Okay. So they'd like to free Lebanon. I hope we can get more peace deals. And I can tell you, if you want to have peace, you better be able to protect yourself against those who want to annihilate you. We do that. But in defending ourselves, we're defending our common civilization, the people who chant death to America. Last point, Jackie, the funeral in the funeral of Khamenei, which was held yesterday, they chanted, the Iranians, including the organizers, they not only chanted death to America, they said, kill Trump. They chanted death to Trump.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to hear that in Israel. Israel is the best ally the United States has anywhere around the world.
Well, that brings me here, because I want to make sure that we talk about this sweep of democratic socialists on the left in America.
Uh-oh. It's like, dude, can you imagine? By the way. Why are we asking the leader of a foreign nation this? Like, is this being asked of the Estonian leadership? Is this being asked of the Lithuanian leadership? Are they calling up the fucking German head of state and being like, hey, what do you think about the New York DSA slate and its sequence of victories? Imagine they're about to show him a clip of you. I hope not. I've heard that Big Yahoo knows who I am and thinks I'm an irrelevant figure. Like not a relevant figure in a force in American politics because I'm like too radical. Which is good. I want him to feel that way if that's a real story. This is what I've heard from secondhand accounts.
Who have unseated a number of moderate, even some progressive incumbents who are very well funded. Happened in New York, happened in Colorado. And for many of these candidates, Israel's becoming their purity test. Listen to this.
It breaks my heart. Someone who wrote good legislation for queers is so terrible. Gaza.
So that was California State Senator Scott Wiener, Jewish Democrat. He's called the war in Gaza a genocide. He opposes U.S. funding for Israel, and he was driven out of the annual trans rally by activists raging about his Zionist handlers. And then you got Congressman Dan Goldman, also Jewish. He just lost his primary over his ties to AIPAC.
To another Jewish congressperson. Dude, we have just erased Brad Lander is no longer Jewish. Okay? And this is not just on Fox News. This is literally on CNN too. I cannot believe it. Also, none of those guys are DSA. Brad Lander literally left DSA. You say that as a joke, but they unironically do say that? No, I know. It's fucking nuts.
Despite being one of your most vocal critics. So what do you think is happening here in America?
I think there's obviously a very anti-Israel and an anti-American wave. And I think they're connected because then look at the values that they have. What do they want to see? Do they want to see a strong America defending America's interests and around the world? When it's necessary, or do they want to see a different America? And of course, also on the foundations of free markets, for example, that I believe in very strongly, and that many Americans have believed it, and I think they made America great. No, they challenge that too. So I think there's a correlation between that. And unfortunately, people who know better, I would say who should know better, but I think they all know better. And these people let themselves be swept by these irrational protests and this.
I saw some guy write a letter to Brad Lander in 2028. Apologizing for DSA using him as a token Jew and then running an anti-Zionist and rat fucking him. Just pure hallucination. Wait, what? I don't even understand what it is. What that means. Like in the future? Like a guy was writing a letter to future Brad Lander?
This very toxic ideology. I don't think it lasts because I think America can try it.
Okay.
Just try it. Try socialism.
Final word.
We tried it here. It didn't work that much. So I decided to try free markets. It worked a lot better. And,
Okay.
you know, Americans will eventually get that picture, too.
Final word here with about 15 seconds left. Taken together, what the vice president said about younger Republicans and what we're seeing with this growing radicalism on the left, are you worried about the long-term?
Yes, the future of Brad comments were full of people calling Brad a capo, fucking crazy shit. Dude, I think it's because it's a dying movement, honestly. I think Zionism is a dying movement. And I do think that more and more Jews will either shit or get off the pot. Like, it's just not, it's not tenable. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, no, I really fucking care about this country, this foreign nation. If it doesn't exist, the Holocaust will happen, but also I'll never live there. Like, if you're a Jewish American and you've already seen the generational split, it's over. Those ties have been severed, right? That's never going to be repaired. I think regardless of what happens with anti-Semitism, I don't think the young generation of Jews will ever consider Israel to be anything but a reason for why people became anti-Semitic. They will not look at Israel as their savior, right? For the older Jews who do believe that Israel is like what's holding the world from doing Holocaust all the time, which is a hysterical way to live your life. And it's also one that you don't truly believe, but you've been so conditioned that you think you believe it. But for a lot of those guys, I think they're inevitably going to have to come to the conclusion that either they're all Kahanists, maybe some of them might even move to Israel, as a matter of fact. But it will be a marginal group that still has this like unshakable loyalty to the state of Israel while simultaneously living in America, living in the UK. Like, those days are gone. I don't think they realize it. I don't think these guys realize it, that the ground has shifted from under their feet.
Durability of the U.S.-Israel relationship?
The more reasonable people have already broken off canvassing. No. You haven't even seen it yet. What I'm talking about is going to happen at the next presidential election. You'll see. Like, because remember, we are at the edge of American politics here. We're following it closely. We're day in, day out. Sometimes we're directly dealing with it. Okay? So our perspective is definitely a little bit further ahead than the average person's perspective. The average person doesn't even know the fucking primaries are taking place, right? When there is a massive seismic shift that everyone is, at least to a certain degree, aware of, like the midterms, but even the midterms are not that big. The general election for the presidential election would be that seismic shift. When you have this issue get talked about at the forefront of the political conversation, that's when that seismic shift is going to happen. The average liberal is going to come to terms with that reality. The average Jewish liberal who is a lifelong Democratic Party voter. It's already a kitchen table talk for a lot of people. Of course it is.
I worry about the trends that I see. I won't tell you that I'm not worried about it, because I think it has something to do with frankly, with the social media, with the penetration of social media that has been used and abused by countries, three in particular, and they've had bot farms that push the stuff against America and against Israel, and
not Big Yahoo, talking about foreign countries manipulating American consciousness. Who is the most visible billionaire who openly bought TikTok, CBS, and CNN, that also happens to be the biggest donor to the Friends of the IDF charity? And that's the stuff that we see. That's the stuff that the average guy hears about, knows about, understands, and doesn't like. When you start getting into the bot stuff, Black Cube or numerous other former Mossad agents that start PSYOP organizations, I mean, yeah. Biggest donor. Larry Ellison is friends of the IDF's biggest donor. What gives?
Focuses on young people and young Americans. And I can't say that I'm not worried about the effect that it has. How do you combat this? It's hard because democratic countries don't have the ability to fight this, this bot war with the same means. We are accountable. We're transparent. It's not so simple. But I think you'll see a correlation between the penetration of certain social media and the decline in patriotic American feelings and support for Israel.
Okay.
It's something we have to deal with. But am I worried about it? Look, I think that our alliance is not merely based on common interests. I think it's based on common values. And as long as we stick to those common values, freedom, the right of every individual to live and not be slaughtered by fanatics.
Yeah. Great. Talk about how you got to hold people accountable for anti-Israel sentiment more. That seems good. Seems like good policy. Good politics, good propaganda.
People should have free choice in their lives.
Okay.
And of course, to have our common heritage, which has brought so much to the world. I think as long as we have that, our alliance will be fine.
We'll have to leave it there.
The most important thing that I can say, Jackie, in closing, is that I want to wish you and the people of America a happy 4th of July. 250 years of freedom, and frankly, 250 years of defending freedom. America has been the stellar force in this century and in the past one, in modern times. If you hadn't had America, you'd have Nazi totalitarianism, Stalin totalitarianism, and others. And I think
What do you mean Stalin totalitarianism? Big dog. Stalin died decades prior to the dissolution of the USSR. This you dog? What is this? Every Mexican household has at least one person showing up dressed like this today? Yeah, that is me.
America has been a great force for good. That doesn't mean that it's perfect. Israel is not perfect either.
Okay.
But it has been a force for immense good. And our alliance has been a terrific one.
Yeah. Israel is the most fake friend country of all time, by the way, because for two reasons. One, Stalin, more impactful in liberating the camps than the Western flank was. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Stalin, more impactful in the development of the Israeli nation state by way of arms trafficking, sending arms to the Czech Republic, only to get sent to Israel. Now, of course, they changed their mentality fairly quickly, but kind of crazy that he forgot about Big S. He put Big S up there like Joe Brandon. Norway goal. Yeah, I am noticing that this was not a very friendly interview. Interesting.
And it'll continue to the extent that I have anything to do with it, and the people of Israel, who are unabashedly.
If this is the Abdul El Sayed thing, oh.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, we'll have to leave it there. We are out of time. Always appreciate talking to you, sir. Thank you for joining us once again.
Telling Benjamin Netanyahu that you're out of time is crazy.